All right, we're gonna have to try and make this as fast as possible. And before my mic breaks down again, the mic is fine. It's the computer that needs to be restarted, but there's no Wi-Fi. So I'm in Sicily here, a tricky island, and things are tricky here. And look at the view. We have another beautiful backdrop here. Artist Journal, October 30th. 2023, broadcasting from Santa Flavia, just outside of Palermo, Sicily. My name's Adrian Pocobelli, and welcome back. So, as I was saying, I just started trying to record this episode about 5 minutes ago, and the mic crashed. So the computer could be delicate. I'm going to try and do this as fast and as simply as possible, maybe to everybody's benefit, and hopefully the mic just kind of stays cool. So again, welcome back to a new week here. And so Rat Cloak, the typist. And here, I have my own interpretation of, again, what I would call a narrative painting here. Beautifully painted, probably in Photoshop. But beautiful and interesting are maybe the wrong words here. I believe Rat Cloak put out a tweet saying this is part of a Francis Bacon type series. I think the third part, it's on Super Rare. We'll look at that in a second. It already has a bid. See this kind of nice painterliness, and again, kind of Bacon-esque maybe in the face here, kind of Picasso-esque in the two kind of perspectives. You see the person looking at the typewriter seemingly, and then looking away, but they share the eye. Almost a hat tip to Picasso, one could argue. What I think's going on here is the dissociation of feeling from abstract thought of the bureaucrat or decision maker. That would be, or the person working in the office who's making the decision for all these, casualties coming out of their thoughts and abstractions. And there they are all around this person, and this person is just deep in thought. And this is heightened for me, and again, this could have zero connection to Rat Cloak's interpretation. This is just my take, if you asked me. And this kind of sense of what's what Ballard called the death of affect, the death of our capacity to feel, where, everything becomes abstraction, which Ballard called the death of affect the most terrifying casualty of the 20th century. And I would argue this could be interpreted this way, and it's kind of furthered with an abstract painting behind the head. And here you see actually kind of a cool abstraction where this final line here of this cube is not put. Kind of a cool painting, actually, on the wall, and interesting black. And again, interesting and beautiful. When you consider the weight of the topics that are being discussed here and the reality for someone like Rat Cloak, who is in Ukraine, words like interesting and beautiful sometimes don't feel right, but we'll just go with it because sometimes it's the best you have, at least the best I have as we start here this morning. So another deep, dark, and fascinating work. Again, Rat Cloak for me is, and I haven't seen all the artists, so just for me personally in my experience, is the person who is captured. It is the artist of this war that I've kind of identified most with in terms of just portraying it. I guess at the start we saw a lot of works, but this is pretty cool, especially when you kind of zoom out and look at it. And I mean, again, cool feels like the wrong word when you consider the reality that may be involved here. Cool title, again. So this already has a bid, which is fantastic, for 0.15 ETH on Super Rare from Tempered. So congratulations to Rat Cloak. Again, every word I use here feels like the wrong one. Congratulations. Well, I'm glad. It's a great work, and it's a thoughtful work, and let's just leave it at that. Continuing on some comments here. Programming matter is such a fascinating concept. So glad you made that deduction from that work. Watching this is like not too infrequently getting a glimpse into the future. Thank you, Edgar. I believe who that is. Appreciate that. It's the works that often stimulate the thoughts, isn't it? And it's just another example, which we've seen throughout the history of art, how artists often, especially in the 19th and 20th centuries, with the dawn of science fiction, again, Ballard called science fiction the true authentic literature of the 20th century. It's just another example of artists anticipating the future and showing potential outcomes As Ballard, predicted finally on Ballard in the atrocity exhibition that Ronald Reagan, coming out in 1970, would become president. Kind of famous for that. One of the many reasons he's famous. Continuing on, much love, Pocobelli, from Mick Renders. Thank you. I appreciate the feature. A lot of randomness in the series comes from the physical nature of moving the cartridge, right? Remember the Nintendo glitch ROMs, where some of the interpreted movements match my inputs, and to see the given reaction of the console and game is always a fun surprise. So working with surprise, and yeah, I quite enjoyed how that, seen with the soul of the games. I wonder if this is cut off. I can't reload this page out of fear that unfortunately, yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, I'm having a few technical difficulties. Probably need to restart my computer, but there's no Wi-Fi here. And then the phone, we've been burning a lot of phone data, and for me to reload everything. Anyway, you don't want to hear it. Eitzo, thank you for the comment. Thanks for showing off the portrait of Sky. Yeah, that great portrait of Sky Goodman. We saw the physical photo and the digital. This is the first part of a series of glitched portraits I'm working on from folks from the Tezos community. I'll come for you one day. Awesome. I would be thrilling. That would be thrilling. Skamra, great show, and thanks for going back to read my comment. You're welcome. I think you put that situation in the right frame. And thanks for showing my Santiago portrait. I love how the contest has the reach of a Twitter meme without seeming forced. And watch this space later in the show. We're going to have a whole ton of Santiago works. Louis. So remember the... oh, good. Okay, so the read more is working here too. So remember the comment on the idea of money and art. Oh my, I think I was in a bit of a funk when I wrote the commentary for my piece, Monetize Your Imagination, that you kindly featured, because hearing it read back, it did sound kind of glum, certainly sentimental, maybe even a touch pessimistic. Well, we've all been there, haven't we? And, maybe I'll finish the comment, but I was going to say, like, I think we've all been there, and and it's not to say I don't take your point either. Like, I mean, I don't, so continuing on. Ironically, that isn't me. I'm an optimist. I love being an artist and making art being free. I think what set me off on the tangent was being back at school studying animation, how the young people in the class and the teachers are all talking about finding jobs and making money. Yeah, interesting. The spirit of pure creation, context is everything, isn't it? The spirit of pure creation, creative risk-taking, anarchy, experimentation for its own sake seems to have evaporated. I think back to the wild mechanisms from my early art school days and felt perturbed at how in line the youth are. We were broke but free-spirited different times. And it is a really interesting point. And like my take on that as well is slightly different, but I kind of sympathize in the sense that so much of the art world, say, even as I was in Berlin, as going back to shortly, 2 weeks actually, but so much is like, what school did you go to, and all this sort of thing. Who is your professor? And just in that whole mentality in the contemporary art world, a lot of importance is placed on that. And to me, like, that's the kind of conformity that I see. Because really, is that going to really, that can help, being trained properly, absolutely. But, should that be the be-all, end-all? Absolutely not. Continuing on. I hear what you're saying, though, and agree. There's plenty of great stuff to focus on. Of course, to be able to make dosh with your art is fabulous, absolutely, and possible in all kinds of new ways. This whole gambit, the forward-facing NFT digital art world, is full of glorious possibilities, innovative projects, and lovable characters. Absolutely, I love being a part of it, and no doubt it enriches all our lives. Thanks for the good vibes. Thank you, Louis. And as I said somewhere, either on Twitter or here, thanks for being a good sport, because I think on Twitter you're saying how it kind of got rough and tumble. And it kind of did on both sides a little bit, but it's all in the spirit of just a good conversation, an honest conversation, of just, a real exchange of ideas. I think maybe it was Aristotle or Plato, I can't remember who, two friends in dialogue with good intentions, so to speak, is kind of like what the groundwork here of a good conversation where we might actually get somewhere further. And I feel like, yeah, Because there's so much subtlety in everything, right? Life is complex. Human boy vibes. Great video as always. Thank you. Having a window in your shot is very nice. Let's look at it again. Unfortunately, it's a little blown out here. I might try and record tomorrow later in the day, just to see if we can get the view a little bit better, because unfortunately when I'm in it, unfortunately that beautiful background disappears. The best. Thank you. Maybe we will try and reload this. Why? I feel like we're missing comments here, but thank you everybody for the comments. And we got a few more here just on yesterday's show. I mean, the views are going off the charts here on Twitter. The other one had 25,000. This one's got 20. It's pretty amazing. So again, thank you for the massive support here. Strange Thing, thanks for the feature, friend. Here's a closer look at the curator. So I've brought these up actually large in a future tab here. That's going to come up here in a second. So thank you for that, Strange Thing. I'm going to feature those in a second. Martin Joe, great episode as always. Regarding the romanticization of art and the artist, this quote from Robert Hughes, the old Time magazine critic, came to mind. On the whole, money does artists much more good than harm. On the whole, money does artists much more good than harm. The idea that one benefits from cold water, crusts, and debt collectors is now almost extinct, like belief in the reformatory power of flogging or whipping yourself. So, yeah, interesting, and yeah, great quote there, Martin. Glyphpunks, great show as always. I keep discovering new things. That's awesome. In Glitch Stroke, I recognize that art, going to be a good one. Of course, Mech, brilliant. It's just, you know, I don't have enough things to say about Mech's work right now. Your tone of voice is very suitable for dubbing movies. That's hilarious. Thank you. And thank you, Luciana, Rip Cash, and Casimir, and Dudley. Michael Micasso is a beast, absolutely. So thank you, everyone, for the comments here. I kind of thought this was interesting. Maybe a lot of you saw this ad. I was seeing this ad all over my Twitter here. And I thought it was kind of interesting just within the context of this money and art discussion. And I'm kind of ambivalent on Damien Hirst. Some things I actually don't mind this series. Some things I don't care for the things that are spinning. But this series, it's kind of hit and miss for me. But I actually clicked on that image and it brought me to this page. And I just thought it was actually kind of interesting how much these sell for. Oil on card, mountain on birch ply frames with canvas webbing around the edges. 59 centimeters, so 60 centimeters by 40, let's say. So not huge. $25,000 plus taxes. And this one's $45,000. This one's larger though. So this is another thing that maybe when you're new to art is actually perhaps surprising, but then it makes sense, which is larger sells for more money, you know, which is kind of funny in its own right. And this is 60 by 40, $25,000. So I thought it was just kind of interesting. And there's Damien Hirst making the work. You know, no judgment here on either way, but here's someone who has really commercialized, and I don't use the word pejoratively, their work. And I would say fairly successfully from a commercial point of view. I'd say mixed results from a artistic point of view, but these look pretty nice. I mean, I think this is actually a pretty nice series. I just thought interesting within the context of our discussion. Tukes, every month I craft hundreds of images. Can't mint them all, so I picked and organized the best. Of course, Tukes makes a lot of AI, and AI artists can be some of the most prolific out there because of how quickly you can, you know, generate works. I mint my faves and keep the minting pace in sync with my creation rate. Interestingly, sometimes I add them to the main collections. Other times I create new collections for a themed set of work. So, and there maybe you can hear, I guess it's noon over here. I don't know if you can hear that bell. It's quite beautiful. So, so here's Tukes. Being very prolific is kind of the moral of the story. And also CG777.eth. A great quote from Warhol here. Don't think about making art, just get it done. Let everyone else decide if it's good or bad. This bell is beautiful, if you can hear that. I'm going to keep going in case you can't. Let everyone else decide if it's good or bad, whether they love it or hate it. While they are deciding, make even more art. So be prolific is the moral of the story here. It's a good philosophy, and I kind of agree with it. I totally agree with it. More interesting sort of stuff. So the Beatles are putting out a single, kind of related to our last image there. And Ed Ruscha, the famous pop artist, did the cover. So I thought we could take a look at it. And here it is. And I thought it was actually pretty interesting. Of course, Ed Ruscha uses a lot of text, is considered a, there we go, and is considered, uses a lot of text, considered a pop artist. So I thought it was actually just an interesting solution for what must have been a massive task to do, the Beatles' probably last single, Now and Then. And if you look at it, you see there's just kind of a nice little gradient behind, and then over top, probably some stenciled text, and then with a little, pretty simple, interesting solution from Ed Ruscha. Nero, my whole thesis as an artist is to bring the past into the future. Interesting thought, and I've never thought of that before. Art done in collaboration with AI is an exploration. It's a mysterious experience, and it will continue to be for the foreseeable future. Just like any other kind of art, it's not just about creating beautiful images, it's about creating something that is relevant. And this is the real, takeaway for me, and why I probably decided to highlight this. That is, it's also about just doing something relevant and significant with your life to a certain degree. I guess in my sort of super skeptical world, and skeptical in the sense that I think knowledge is extraordinarily hard won. It's probably like the Platonism background. Plato was incredibly skeptical, Socrates. And so I think knowledge is very hard won, which is why, again, we prize, and science should be prized for what it offers. And it's not necessarily entire knowledge, but it works. So there's something to be said for the fact that science works. And so there's so little that can be said. I would argue if you can just make something that's relevant, this is a massive, massive victory. If you can do something that's kind of relevant and meaningful and that is required to a certain degree, that's kind of necessary, that it's like you don't get the full picture without that work, then you've really achieved a huge victory, in my opinion. So I sympathize. So here are the images that Strange Thing has added, and we had some others from the show, which is why I wanted to show them a little, show these two images a little later. So pretty interesting, and again, look at how close up we can go on this too. Again, we do see, remember the white paint that the paint plotter was doing, and then it's almost like it's printed over top, and we see the brush strokes here. So I wonder, and here it seems to work really well, but it's an interesting kind of quality of these works is, so here it seems to work pretty well. And interestingly, so it's just interesting to look at these things up close, as close as we can with these photos here. They seem quite nicely done. Again, I think to have a proper judgment on these, you'd probably need at least one viewing. At least one viewing in the flesh, in person. So just interesting over here. And here is the other one. And again, you see the texture here. What I like to call the holy grail of digital art is actually, making the texture. So I call this a 1.0 from Art Matter is what this looks like to me. It looks very promising. Put it this way. Speaking of the future, the way I see this going is right now they're using white as the underpainting, and it seems like maybe they do a spray or inkjet over top. That's what it looks like to me. And in the future, it'll probably be more like the pen plotting, where you take a color, where the paintbrush gets the color and then puts that color, and then maybe gets washed or gets a different paintbrush, and then you put a different color. Right now, I think we probably just get the texture first, and then this kind of print over top. So I suspect that's where this will eventually go, is rather than the white underpainting, it will just be the brushwork. And I'm sure I imagine that's where it's going. Just another example here. This is from ClownVamp. A companion piece to my new collection, Whispers, a 7-day open edition on Tezos to celebrate the opening of Reflections tonight with art matter and tender art. And details below. And so I believe I brought here we go. So again, I mean, pretty impressive, though, overall. This is a painting. This is not a digital artwork, I do not think. I don't think. So, pretty impressive. It's cool how, ClownVamp decided to use kind of a more painterly work as well, quite smartly, right, for his submission to this show. Ira Greenberg, extremely happy, actually sort of shocked with how incredibly well Art Matter translated my AI-generated portraits to physical oil paintings. So actually kind of shocked, using their own proprietary AI, serious game-changing tech. So they're using AI as well in the painting plotter, in the paint plotter. All mints on the 30 painted head on ETH include a one-of-one physical oil painting. You can view the entire collection here. How cool is that? So this is also, speaking of windows on the future, I suspect physical art is going to be sold on these platforms. And it's already happening. And it's already happened for last 8 or 9 months and probably before that, where it's like you buy the NFT and then you get shipped the painting in the mail. I don't see why that doesn't happen. I've thought of doing it myself. It's just there's too many things to do. Helio Santos, some more. Now this looks like, interestingly, this looks like what I was calling, what I'd be tempted to call 2.0. What Helio Santos is doing, which is actually getting the color. This is a different kind of paint plotting, from what I can tell. So isn't that interesting? Right? Super interesting. So the paint plotting theme continues to be super interesting. And here, for contrast, is Santiago manually painting. We'll see if this loads up. It's been a challenging day. Let's just quickly see here. It's been a very challenging day for internet, and we may just have to keep going. It is Santiago painting. So I guess we can try reloading that. Let's just try that quickly. All right, let's let it go. Or we're going to let it go. It is Santiago painting. We will see that again in the future, I'm sure. Luciana Guerra, work in progress, third part of a triptych. So here is some more physical work. This looks great, doesn't it, by Luciana Guerra. And third part of a triptych, monotype collage. So very nice kind of textures and physical work from Luciana Guerra. Here's Ripcash, and this was also super interesting. Oxygen Silkscreen by Ripcash. And so here, okay, you see one version of the Oxygen Silkscreen, so again, made physical. And then we see the Corrosion Silkscreen, and do you see how it adds these kind of holes here, or rust corrosion, shall we say, or just corrosion? Here it's just straight. So an interesting way of remixing here, or just doing a variation and adding some randomness into the work. I don't know if that is on the screen, that there are things left over, or potentially, probably, I imagine there's probably a layer in Photoshop where you get the rust corrosion, you just put it on top, you mask it out, and then there you have a whole different version. So again, kind of what I see with digital art is this possibility of completely overwhelming the contemporary art scene, not to create a huge distinction between the two. They're kind of, but there is a slight difference, a distinction between the two. And I could see the digital art scene completely overwhelming the physical contemporary trad art world through volume itself, through the amount of works that could be created. which is just kind of interesting thought from my perspective. And here's just another version. Hard to say if this is the digital or the physical. This may be the digital that was used to create that physical, so hard to say. So interesting work there. And Xcopy, this was interesting too. So I missed this a couple of weeks ago, or maybe less than a week, or less than a couple, maybe 10 days ago. This was minted on chain. So this was a new Xcopy Algo Bro. And as you see here, I just kind of discovered that it was, thanks for bringing the work on chain with Efficax. I think that's the same one that Spiegel's Maskinen uses, I believe. So more on chain NFT art courtesy of, I don't even know if it'd be considered an NFT. Is it an NFT if it's on chain? More digital art on chain courtesy of Xcopy, Algo Bro. So continuing on, and here's Louis Ponce, physical digital GM. So luckily this work is plain. And here on the left, you see the physical, and here on the right, you see the digital. So how interesting is this? There you see it, nice torn paper. Warhol used a lot of torn paper. Looks great, by the way. So I guess taking a still, or taking maybe the favorite still of this work and turning it into a static physical work. Very interesting, isn't it? And it looks great. Again, I'd be curious, like, I'm not sure if that is a, I assume it's an inkjet, but it sure looks rich, doesn't it? And more kind of physical renditions of digital works. Spiegel's Maskinen, getting there in Brick's Gallery, 1 week left for my first solo show with physicals. And so how cool is this? And we've been seeing previews of these little screens that, and I think that Spiegel's there. We've been seeing previews of these screens for months now. And look at that great laser. That looks pretty useful, doesn't it? I've never seen that. Usually people are getting out their level, and that's pretty smart. Some smart people over there. It's probably going to be a great looking, and there you go. Here's some more. Look at how cool that looks, and the great dithering there. Continuing on, more Spiegel's Maskinen, just a work in progress. GM. Look at how cool that looks. So just a clue into Spiegel's Maskinen's process. And here's Kristen Roos also experimenting here. Here's something from a new series in progress. It's been fun to have some time to experiment with a different process. So yeah, kind of a little more jittery, a bit more of a jittery GIF, a jittery GIF from Kristen Roos. Continuing on, Retro Manny, refreshing the mothership today, also in the studio here. And more outlines looking like a spaceship of sorts here. So just more interesting things going on. And here is Ed Marola ready for deep engrainment. And here you see an Ed Marola work on what looks like some sort of old, analog video mixer type gear. So that could be pretty interesting. Nice setup here. And look at this, GM curators from Haiti Rocket. Hypermedia Dreams. And here, curated, if you can see that, by Haiti Rocket, Max Capacity, Xcopy. Just a ton of people here. Tachyons. So there's going to be, this will be, hopefully we can see this show November 1st to January 31st. This could be super interesting. I've learned a ton. Actually, Haiti Rocket is the first artist I think after Rada, that I really kind of got into, or one of the early ones. And that was when I started looking at Haiti's collection. Was when I started to realize there's a lot going on Object. So all to say, Haiti's been around for a while, out of Turkey, and this should be a really cool show, and what a great title, Hypermedia Dreams. Tornado Rodriguez, big artistic week coming for me. Tomorrow, big collective drop on Sol, and on Wednesday, I will start an artistic residence that will last 5 days of living with other artists on the same house creating. So starting a residency, Tornado Rodriguez, very cool update here too, with maybe Tornado character here making some art here. So that is super cool. And we might need to reload this one. We'll see if it reloads. Pamelo in the studio in the jungle here. We'll see if this reloads. And Pamelo, I've just invited to a space, and it sounds like he's going to come. So that'll be in about a month. And unfortunately, we're going to have to come back to Pamelo, but working on the road. And hopefully not assigned to come for the rest of this show. And continuing on, Aku, so far so good. Just kind of interesting to see people working here. And I'll probably have to quit clicking on these links here. So here is just someone, here's the outline and then filling it in with things. Cool process, actually. Pretty cool process. Working digitally there with layers. And of course, Limbo is back. New work in progress for upcoming ETH drop. So Limbo is, of course, just a very kind of cool, almost like cult artist, as Popple once described him on Object. Really interesting artist. You can recognize who this is. Look at these new colors here. Beautiful composition. In a sense, Mech can do no wrong with this series because he could leave it like this. He could add details into the sky here. What looks like a sky, this looks like an island. He could add waves. He could just keep it empty. It's all beautiful. It's such a powerful technique that's been born here, or kind of recreated in a sense, like similar to the Ultima 4. Again, this is a series. It's one of those ones I wish I made myself. I mean, that's how I feel about this. They're so, again, and look at how nice and minimal these are. Just awesome. And look at the, almost like, as they go further into the forest, perhaps, or whatever this is, the darker it gets, the color, it's almost semi-abstract. It's really just exciting work. The sin of creation. Luckily, this is playing. A little bit of old school music. I'm not going to turn my mic because, unfortunately, I am having pretty serious technical difficulties. Look at how cool this is. He could probably make these in like no time now that he's done all the setup with creating all these different figures. Then he can just make a million works, maybe one for each of us. Definitely want to collect some of those. They're probably not going to be cheap, though. I don't forget my roots. Good night, my good friends. So this was also super interesting. And I follow mech.txt. That is a Twitter bug. It's been around for a long time, that bug. Okay, the internet is coming back here. So this is super interesting. We see, Mech's earlier series with pixel art, and it's starting to get integrated. He's starting to experiment with integrating the pixel art within what I guess we can loosely call the MS-DOS work. And here, a little bit of animation, almost like a video game here. So pretty interesting combination here. Here's well. And do we have a title on this? Bring Terror to the King, yes or no? So just very, very, very interesting and cool. And again, you see the pixel art in the middle and even some text, take me to your king. So, it's, and here's more. I mean, look at this. Look at these beautiful, and what's interesting? I mean, this looked like the landscape. I was going to show it. I was tempted to show it in the last episode. It kind of looks like, it doesn't, this is a little too far away. This is a little too far away, but in the last place I was at, in Taormina, this literally looks like the landscape there behind, and there's little buildings and everything. So it's just kind of interesting. We're comparing it to Carpaccio. There's something oddly representational about this MS-DOS work here. And it's interesting as well because this is different from Ultima 4, which was always kind of a, I guess you'd call it a bird's eye view with a little bit of an angle. This is more kind of looking horizontally. It's almost like a real, quote unquote, real landscape is what I'm trying to get at here. And this brick sky, the sky of brick, it's just like, I can't get enough of this series. Now this is a portrait. We'll see Arts Abide, and I assume I'm following Arts Abide too. 2-color pixel art, self-portrait. So this looks like it's ready for on-chain, doesn't it? You could probably mint it for a few bucks on Bitcoin or Ethereum. So very cool work here from Artsabide. And here is a work by Capin. Hex, this is an open edition, and you got to be careful with the open editions because you might think that they're not collectible because it's an open edition, and then all of a sudden they stop, and then there's only like 10 or 13 minted, which is often the case. Here you have 15 minted with a day to go, 666, so cool work by Capin. And continuing on, more work, this time posted on X from Capin. Pretty cool piece. Location, Expedition Base Camp, Planet X42, July 10th, 2207. So kind of a sci-fi feeling. And again, probably using some obscure old software here. Just posting the image with no text. And, you know, interesting, this text is very readable too, which is interesting. And I'd read that, but time is of the essence, and this mic is still working, so let's just keep going with that. More beautiful work from Capin. Here's Haiti Roquette, actually, with some brilliant diskettes here. All, see these horizontal pixels, too? Using kind of, you know, again, not all pixels are alike here, and some nice kind of horizontal pixels in the dithering. Nice touch, and here, you know, classic dope, written on the 3.5-inch diskette label. And so here you see them just done in different colors. Diskette 2, 1 of 1, diskette 3, 1 of 1, and diskette 4. All works for me. Very, very, very cool. I'm getting inspired to make art today from all these great artists, and we're still like probably a third the way through, but I'm going to speed up here a little bit. Manidal, Queen of Cups. So another addition to the Cat Tarot series. Look at this beautiful color in the dithering. Kind of reminds me of a Sicilian sunrise, actually. If you reversed the blue here with the pink and turned it upside down, you'd have the colors I saw this morning here. I think I've seen every sunrise since I got here. I've been waking up at 6. And look at the waves coming in there. Queen of Cups, another beautiful addition here from Manidal, the Cat Tarot. And this is Green Ginger, and I thought this was pretty funny. Chill Saturday, so posted on Saturday over the weekend. And of course, this is using some kind of software. I don't know if it's Blender or whatever. It refers to, there's software that kind of makes these kind of cubes, I think. And then using that as a source to make a pixel artwork in like a living room, an interior here. And here it looks like, I don't know if it's a TV or a painting, maybe a TV here or a mirror, who knows? Just cool work. And we have another work by Green Ginger here. This was cool. Otherworldly Terminus. And so here's a train station. I don't know if this is running or not. I almost hesitate to reload this in case the mic. Sometimes it's just like scotch tape and scissors out here. So unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to get the work here. And continuing on, Glyph Punks. Glyph art on Foundation, The Gate. So pretty cool from Glyph Punks. And some interesting, you know, some interesting characters. I mean, it almost looks like bold here. I don't reckon, like they're more obscure. I guess some of this is familiar, but interesting character make. So taking kind of a variation on ASCII and making an image out of it. So interesting piece here from Glyph Punks on Foundation. And here's another one, new glyph art drop. Nativity in Black, the embryo of code stirs to life. So more kind of code to, you know, letters, characters to make code to make images. And kind of a beautiful subject matter here, a fetus, to use, and zeros and ones, you know, all boiling it down to zeros and ones. To our earlier discussion, Psycho with a new mint on Zora. And this almost looks like VJ gear, doesn't it? So isn't that interesting? Cool kind of sparkles all around it too here. Really nice work from Saiko, and that is on Zora. Here's a new work by Ugo, and also using kind of that style. And here, there's all sorts of, look at this. You see the golden ratio here? So a polo player, I tried to create a good pictorial composition that allows me to showcase the speed at which the polo player gallops on his horse. The aesthetics of the polo world fascinate me, as well as the elegance of the horse, so it naturally finds its place in my work. And here we have like a golden ratio type situation. So very interesting and impressive. Let's see if this loads. I think this might have taken half a gigabyte of my phone data here, but let's see. PP Universal and Amazing. We shall pray that this works, and it may not even work. 6 without S is 9. Might have to wait till next week to show this work, unfortunately. Here, luckily, is the 1 of 1. So that other version was a 10 of 10, and it was a pretty wild piece. This is a collaboration between PP Universal and Masons. This is 150 Tezos. Let me make it big here. And pretty cool collaboration. Again, PP Universal collaborated with Yuri J to great effect. Kind of pretty great effect here. You know, nice collaborations. Let's try one more time here. Yeah, I don't know. And it looks like it's all loaded up too, just doesn't want to play. Well, sometimes it works that way. And we will continue on here. And look at this, Girl with a Pepe. After Lucian Freud's Girl with a Kitten, look at how small it is, 483 by 639 by RJ, part of the Pepe Pastiche series. And there is a Pepe in the hand of the girl. And let's just see what that was going for. 33 Tezos edition of 10. And let's see, 8 left. And this was probably just loaded up, just minted, so it may be sold out. Rainy Fish, GM some spooky art for spooky months. So a bit of a Halloween theme here from Rainy Fish. Pretty cool piece, I have to say. Almost like kind of a vine here, or rose needles or something across this figure here. And there we see some kind of spooky figures there too. Nice piece, feels like Halloween. And Gozo, hopefully this plays. Gozo, who made those incredible kind of textured, stable diffusion artworks. I may have to put a few works aside here for next week when I actually have Wi-Fi, because unfortunately, I loaded them all up, and now Object wants to reload them. So that is too bad. I'm going to put this aside here with the PP for next week. Okay? And we will continue on here. And so look at this, Grimm, with another cool piece. And you know what really stands out to me here? The Philharmonic of Oltenia, Cravio, Calia. Okay, so Romania, 6th of September. Not sure what the title is about, but the color, you have kind of like the blue and white that we saw, I think, in a whole bunch of previous works, and almost you get like this AI type, you know, facial recognition type squares. Really cool divisions. I like the contrast of the colors of this kind of blue and white kind of coldness with the warmth of this kind of really nice digital work here. I assume this is all by Grimm, because there was some collaboration before. Really nice color. The contrast in the color is gorgeous. And here, an interesting work by Yuri J. Spent 30 minutes to make this arrangement. So here, I think we see 4 different works here, and this almost looks like a altarpiece of sorts in the bottom left. Some of them look familiar, like the bottom left, but others don't. So just interesting post from Yuri J. And another, there are a few failed artists. This one stood out here. The failed artist 30 or 42 self-portrait. And there it looks like perhaps some alcohol or something in a grocery cart as the failed artist continues with the jester hat. A wonderful series here by Waistband Goldminovich, edition of 11, only 3 Tezos, 9 left. I'm a huge fan. The first one is spectacular. There's a ton of spectacular works, and I bought a lot of them, actually. I think I even have at least 1 or 2 one-of-ones in that series. That's how much of a fan I am of that series. X-Stone, with a collaboration with Semha, who does, you know, we're familiar with these kind of colored, moving, kind of, you know, sparkly works here, for lack of a better term. And there, that looks like X-Stone. Maybe X-Stone also did maybe does the still areas of this work, and then maybe Semha makes all the moving parts of it. Anyway, nice piece. Really cool collaboration there as well. Turkarak with a couple of works here. I want to highlight Talebearer. and more just kind of portraits of the contemporary world, contemporary illustration, as I like to call it, and maybe, two high school girls, telling rumors or something to each other. Just a really interesting talebearer. So pretty cool work there. Interesting animation in the grass, especially there. And here's another one, Occupants. More mysterious here, someone smoking on a couch here with maybe some alcohol perhaps, and a cat. This one is Static, and they're really nicely painted here too. Some very interesting work from NUV 1914. More edgy kind of gradient works here. These are one of ones too, by the way. I don't know, and I probably won't be able to get the history, unfortunately, because my internet is not working. Lagrimas. Here's another one. More just really interesting one of ones, courtesy of NUV 1914. This is a one of one. So would love to have picked those up. Oftentimes they're not very much money. I saw one for 10 Tezos the other day, one of one. Sebastistaro, kind of surreal illustrator, memory number 6. So playing with the illustration of thought, in a sense, or memory. Very cool and interesting contrast with this kind of fuzziness all around the head here. Cool. Really does evoke memory in a way that only art could, I would argue. Secret Spot by Timothy Julien, only 70 Tezos cents. Kind of an more ambitious work, we might say, in the composition. That definitely stands out. I mean, you have this kind of plant in the foreground all the way back. It's kind of got a bit more of a Renaissance feel. The composition is quite, impressive and complicated, shall we say. It's got a bit of a Renaissance feel to it, actually. Red Void, this work is plain. Hallelujah. I found this in Haiti Roquette's collection as I was looking at those disquettes. I always like to check in and see what he's buying. Here's another one. And you see the Doom? Interesting piece here. There's the cigarettes and an old retro computer here. So Red Void, an artist I'd never seen before, only a Tezos, edition of 6, 2 left. Continuing on, A Million Things on My Mind by Martin Joe using Santiago's drawing tools. And so here, just a cool, another cool painting work from Martin Joe. A Million Things on My Mind, 8,000 by 3704 by 4,000 almost. And here was a beautiful work by Santiago, also posted. Just stunner. Could have been on Super Rare in a sense. 20 editions, 7 Tezos on Object. A really nice piece here. And also non-plural character. So as we go into the Santiago works, wondering if Pocobelli is going to do an episode about all these Santiago portraits. And so, yes, indeed. So let's hope they load up. I made a new one. So this is, of course, Santiago. And here it kind of was like this meme that went around in the scene, so to speak, over the weekend. My submission for the award-winning contest, here's your EJ. So you're going to see the richness of this scene and how quick it can work. Stip and Pixel with, instantly recognizable, actually, as Stip and Pixel. Really nice piece, kind of Santiago, maybe his daughter in the back in the car that is always breaking down. Tater Tots, his name is Santiago. I've been drawing my friend Santiago for a while. This is him with quite an impressive mustache before his current beautiful beard. So another work here. And this was a beautiful one. Chris Wall, to be honest, not 100% sure why a lot of people on my feed are drawing this guy, but thought I'd join the fun. So pretty nice illustration here. And here's, looks like a pencil drawing from B, because one Santiago isn't enough, and I follow B, by the way. So just a ton of creativity here. Clint, this man's eyes radiate and absorb experience. His hair is a family of sacred droid worms. So it almost looks like a Santiago work here. This is by Clint Fulkerson. And if I missed any, apologies in advance. Just these are all the ones I came across. Trilobite, My Television is Broken. Every channel is just Santiago, Willingly, Seductively. And there is another, and this is Human Boy, Secret Mission Santiago. So pretty hilarious. I mean, all just over the weekend. Helio Santos, this is my entry for the Santiago Art Contest. I hope I'm not late. Pretty hilarious here too. And Itzel Arena, good luck to all participants. And Yuri, or here's Little Cakes. I woke up too early with jet lag, so I made a Santiago of my friend, and yeah, instantly identifiable actually as Little Cakes. Son of Stag, here you go, Santi. You dropped your hero card. So this looks almost like a physical, doesn't it? So that is pretty cool. Santiago is a Codal who will be on the spaces. I will put the post out today. We love to be a part of your journey, Santi, and there is Santiago in the car again. So pretty cool there. And this, I believe, is Mo Wellington. You are Santiago. So here, awesome, awesome piece. And he was responding to an earlier, I can't believe I'm that sexy, but you are. And there you go. And this is also hilarious. So some nice AI works. Leo, I'll leave you my ode to Santiago, possible names, and you can see them here. All too hilarious here, and cypheristical. Never thought I'd be spending my Friday night making a portrait of Santiago, but here we are. So again, pretty impressive how all of these kind of come out over the weekend. I mean, it's a whole show. And like, I probably missed like 50 there too. The grocery legend, also known as Santiago. So good humor, good fun, and good art. And here's actually Salawaki. Hopefully this plays. This is a public service announcement, Newmont, featuring Nemark's angelic voice. Oh, will it play? Will it play now? Yeah, unfortunately, I have internet problems, and the phone was the last resort, and now it is not working. So we'll have to try and remember to bring this one back. And continuing on Mech's capacity. So those were the Santiago works, and it was actually hilarious that Salawaki, yeah, unfortunately, we'll have to bring it back. FBI warning, so this is max capacity. So just a cool take on the FBI warning screen and glitched out. This is 10 Tezos edition of 20. There are 9 left. And also we have Mika Oladev with a cool work here. I'm not going to touch the play button here. So cool kind of glitch work there. And also this is Lena Eckhart. We'll see if this plays. I don't think it will, unfortunately. We're going to have to bring this one back as well. I'm going to bring these back next week when I have proper internet. I can't believe you can go to an Airbnb and not get internet, but that is my situation. And I am spending 10 euros just to do this show, and I'll probably have to do it again tomorrow. Continuing on, we'll come back to Lena Eckhart next week. I'm going to put these all together. Son of Stag, Headspace. Also, kind of a glitch artwork here in the glitch section. Nice textures here from Son of Stag. Almost looks physical, but this is digital. A self-portrait of sorts. And continuing on, Kodo Nakazono, Continuum number 165. So this is on object, so it continues with Kodo Nakazono 200. So that must be on secondary. It is. Akira dice. And again, this is not loading. And this is interesting too, and this was posted by Lonely Boy. Good night. And this is of Eric Swan. So just cool. What looks like, so this is Eric Swan posted by Lonely Boy. Cool, generative looking art, I assume. And here also posted by Lonely Boy, this is a preview of outputs over time by Haha John and Verseworks. So this looks like it'll come out from Verseworks soon. More just kind of cool generative art. And I think Lonely Boy is a part of Verseworks. And of course, Scamra with some more awesome works here. GM, so more illustrative AI artworks. And there you see more code and it looks like a screenshot. Very nice piece, and I love how everything is kind of kept in here all around the side. It's like a full screenshot. And here, this one is cropped, and I love these keyboards. Like, and this, again, by turning it into illustration, it just seems that extra layer of alchemical transformation, so it changes everything. That extra layer of transformation changes everything. And nice work. Maybe it's the AI, but nice negative space here. All around, even in the red and the green complementary colors. Very nice. I think red and green, or is it orange? I think red and green, blue and yellow, orange. But I thought orange. We'll have to revisit. I always have to revisit my complementary colors there. Maybe it's orange and blue. That's what it is. And violet and yellow. That's what it is. Anyways, it's important to know your complementary colors contrast. Zoom AI. So a new series here on Foundation. Where I use artificial intelligence as a tool. This is like a very exciting and inspiring journey. So I brought some up close for us here. And some very nice digital art paintings here using AI from Zoom out of Turkey. More beautiful work here. Let me see if I can make this large. I'm thrilled the microphone is still working here. Look at just beautiful paintings. Here's another one. As we're wrapping up here, just beautiful. So that is just a few highlights there from that series. Go check it out on Foundation, pretty reasonable prices. Marina Amadova, AI artist as well, The Illusion of Beauty, and with some nice flowers there and a portrait where the face is basically covered in flowers and also flowers in the background. Just a nice piece here. Edition of 13, available for 13 Tezos, just minted. And this, of course, is Tukes. Let's see what it says. Our most fragile moment. So Tukes, of course, super prolific and some very interesting AI artwork of flowers here. And into the physical work we go. Steven Schwartzer. New collages with silkscreen prints and drawings. So very interesting work here from Steven. Very nice, innovative. Has a bit of a Rauschenberg feel, just vaguely. But its own thing completely. Nice combination of mixed media. Collages with silkscreen prints and drawings. Maybe cutting out the silkscreen is what's going on here. Very interesting. And look how beautiful Joachim Official is here. Robin the Boy Wonder, enamel paint, spray paint, and oil stick on paper. And it's like replacing Batman with, I don't remember there being a Robin the Boy Wonder. It looks like a Golden Age comic book cover that I've never seen before. Really, 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 really nicely done here. I adore this. Oh, and I didn't even see, this is in Christian Ledger Gallery in Palm Beach, Florida. Too bad not Berlin, otherwise I would be running over to go see that after this trip. More beautiful work. Bobby Seek Mattia is the account here, Archangel, 150 by 120. Very nice piece and great negative space here. I mean, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Super original painting here. Beautiful painting. And another one by Michael Peebles. Really, really, really nice work here. Here the bee and the flower with VR. Connective tissue 2023. Acrylic, flash, colored pencil, and permanent ink on canvas. Beautiful work here. Painting is not dead. That's a whole other conversation that a friend was saying, comparing it to, being a jazz musician, being a physical painter these days. I found it hard to disagree, but when I look at works like that, and here you have nice work by Gloomtube, then I think, maybe there's still life in this, in physical painting. Absolutely there is. And here we see, look at this great work by Gloomtube. And there's a great title, The All-Seeing Neighborhood Watch, or Nextdoor App. And here, a huge eye. And here, Nuv 1914 with what looks like a physical NFT here. Really interesting original artist, Nuv 1914. Go check out the page. I only feature some of them. Even just edition of 2. Interesting. And of course, Walk with another addition to this, I guess what I'd call the Looney Tunes series. Probably, I follow Walk, by the way, and just awesome. The Maestro. The maestro of spray paint, and the color is great and everything. Brilliant, brilliant work. We'll see if the music plays here. It does. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thanks for all the support. Until next time, and there goes the music. Until next time, take care. And I'll just show you. Oh, I didn't even have a final image, so it works out beautifully. All right, until next time, take care.